Hello, I'm Hoodie. That's Oz. Welcome to the first show of, not that we don't have a name, we haven't come up with one yet. We're open to suggestions.
100%.
I'm an Eagles fan. He's a Cowboys fan. We watch a lot of other sports too, but we're going to start with football because it's the Super Bowl.
It's the Super Bowl.
And we've known each other for a long time.
So Hoodie, it is the greatest sport on planet Earth.
That was the other thing I was going to say. We know each other for a long time, but the thing that keeps us connected, I think, at all times is football. I can always hit this man up and talk some football. So,
absolutely.
Super Bowl
week.
Oh, man. I know you've loved the playoffs. I've loved the playoffs. They've been very fun other than our
I've
teams.
actually been a little pissy in a course sport. My boys went down in the first round, played like shit, looked like shit, 14 penalties. You're never going to win. So
7 of them on their own.
So I told you earlier this week, if it ain't the Cowboys, fuck them.
Yeah, and he's not wrong. I completely agree. I would say with the Eagles, it was a good year, so I've enjoyed the playoffs, even though the playoff game wasn't
good for a period of time. Let's not sugarcoat it.
Well, hey, it was better than expected.
It was, and you had a fun run.
Oh, absolutely. So, speaking of fun runs, the Rams and, the Bengals are probably on that magical run. The Eagles had a magical run. I can see this with the Bengals, but the Rams are the better team, right? So, I'm interested to see where this is going to go. Get into it. Let's get into it.
Yeah, let's hop right into it.
All right, so Sean McVay and Zach Taylor are the two head coaches. Sean McVay was a head coach for Zach Taylor, right?
Yeah, no, absolutely. Sean Taylor. Wow, let's get right into this.
Yeah.
Sean McVay, shout out Sean Taylor,
Yeah, Sean Taylor.
The great RIP, obviously. Not shout out Jackson Mahomes for that BS earlier this year,
but on the number.
But RIP. Sean McVay. Let's. This man is 36 years old. That's
he can
unreal.
become the youngest coach to win the Super Bowl.
His first Super Bowl appearance was actually at 32. You know, he got bossed up by the boss there in New England, but hey, what do you expect?
They were at the time like one of the top 5 offenses ever when it came to numbers or whatever. And then,
Jared Goff was the quarterback, man.
Yeah, that's crazy. and it was only his second year as a head coach. And then, they end up, like you said, I don't even think they scored 10 points, right? Or they might have scored 10 points.
I think there was I should have done more research, obviously, but I believe there was a punt record or consecutive punt record.
No, you're right. Yeah,
some crazy thing like that.
The thing that will always stick out in my mind about that is that was Tom Brady passing to Gronk. That was like what a touchdown, or what a play to get them in contention for the touchdown.
No, yeah, absolutely. That was probably the most boring Super Bowl of my life.
I enjoyed it because of what he was doing to Sean McVay.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
But listen, not seeing Tom Brady play on a high level is never fun. So.
No, absolutely.
Big Tom Brady guys, so,
TB12.
Yeah.
Is he retired? Is he not? I guess we'll find out.
Yeah, I guess we'll find out.
As a true football fan, I really hope not, but
yeah.
Hey man, enjoy it.
Same.
Enjoy it, Tom. Enjoy it.
We know football without him, but we don't know football without him.
Shout out Tom. Enjoy retirement.
Yeah.
But yeah, so just an overview of McVay. Like I said, the man is 36 years old. I believe when he was hired, he may have been the youngest head coach.
I think he was, because he was 31 years old, and I remember how big of a deal it was.
Yeah, that's absolutely unbelievable. His overall record is 61-29. This man has won 2 NFC titles. 3 out of the 5 years he's coached, he's been a division champion.
Yeah.
And 4 out of the 5 double-digit wins. That is just...
That, to me, is the most impressive thing. At 31 years old, he was hired, and then 5 years in, it clearly has paid off. That's incredible, because remember the things that he was being said about.
Yeah, no, 100%. But obviously the question is, how did this man just rocket his way from being a 20-year-old kid to an NFL head coach at 31? Yeah. He actually was a baller in high school.
Yeah.
Sean McVay was a 4-year high school varsity starter as a QB and a DB. So he was a dog. He was out there covering probably the best receiver on the field and then going back and running the offense like a beast.
Yeah.
Crazy thing about that is he actually had more rushing yards in high school and rushing touchdowns than he did passing yards. And
so he was
passing
that kind of quarterback.
So he was a dog.
He was the best athlete on the field.
Absolute dog. He played briefly at a wide receiver actually at Miami, Ohio. I think he had like 37 receptions over his career. And then obviously the cool thing about this matchup is he employed Zach Taylor in 2017 and 2018. In 17, Taylor was actually his assistant wide receiver coach, and then he was promoted to QB coach in 18. So there's some blood there. I'm sure there's love, but there ain't no love this week.
And you're absolutely right. And I find that to be super fascinating, and I find Taylor's story to be interesting. The thing about Sean McVay is his offense is always super creative. You know, we know the tree he comes from. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of movement and stuff like that, and Zach Taylor's the same way. But everybody knows about Sean McVay. Zach Taylor, though, I mean, nobody knows about him, and he was like when we talked about this before, you called it like almost a mystery hire, and he was almost a mystery hire.
No, absolutely. I didn't know who the hell he was.
No, I had no idea who he was either. You know, he did not start off too well his first 2 years. Now, granted, got the first overall pick, right? That's how they get Burrow. Burrow tears his ACL the next year. It was like 3 wins, I think, and then 4 wins. But then this year, double-digit wins, and they win the division. That was completely unexpected.
Absolutely.
And, I mean, we know what they've done in the playoffs, right? So, but his personal story, right? He was the Big 12 Offensive Player of the Year for Nebraska, but he played at 2 other he was the transfer portal before the transfer portal. And I'm stealing a quote from Oz on that one because I laughed really hard when he said that, but he played at Wake Forest and Butler before he went to Nebraska. He did pass for over 2,700 yards with 24 touchdowns in a regular season. And then he was an undrafted free agent, picked up by the Buccaneers for a little bit, not long. He coached in Cincinnati for 1 year. I think he was the quarterback coach or the offensive coordinator. And then he went to Sean McVay as the wide receiver coach and then quarterback coach. So what a football journey for him, too, end up on the same, level here. Do you think, though, his offense is incredible, clearly. I mean, both of these guys run fantastic offenses. But is it a Joe Burrow swag that got him here? I mean, or...
I think it might be Joe Burrow is the perfect quarterback for the Zach Taylor experiment, I would say. Because, I mean, he only has 19 wins in his 3 years. So, I mean, that's struggle market, I would say.
Yeah, I agree.
But absolutely, the way that he has drafted, the way that he's brought in free agents. I mean, Trey Hendrickson has been a dog. Cheeto Awuzie holding down the outside. He's a former Dallas Cowboy. So he's certainly done some unthinkable things in a city where the ownership, I would say, is cheap. So
that's the best way to put it. I would completely
the struggle there is real. But you know what I mean? They've had great draft. I mean, look at the receiving core.
Yeah.
I mean, to be honest, is it Zach Taylor or is it what he's working with?
I
would say he's driving a Maserati.
Look at their defenses, like you were saying about just the players, but the schemes as well in the defense.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. And who is their defensive coordinator?
Oh man, we're going
exactly
nuts here.
Exactly.
Lou Amaro. Amaro. I did know that. But
nice job.
The thing about it is you gotta look down to like you said. It's not like he's a big name or whatever, but they've ended all 3 playoff games on a turnover. The defense. The last time that they've been on the field, all 3 times they have intercepted the ball.
And the flip side is they have 5 touchdowns in the playoffs.
Absolutely.
So also on offense.
And what they've done, not just against the Raiders, because what they did against the Raiders was good, but go further against the Titans and then obviously the Chiefs. What they did in the second half against the Chiefs. Listen, I did not know this until a couple of days ago. They held the Chiefs to 6 points in the second half both times that they played them this year.
Shit. And that actually makes sense. I mean, I didn't know that.
But that's kind of that's what a great
adjustments.
How do you do that?
Adjustments,
right.
Man.
So,
no, absolutely. They put the clamps on them both games in the second half.
And I am somebody who thinks that the Titans made a bunch of mistakes to get there, or the Chiefs made a bunch of mistakes to get there, but that's why
you got to put the work in.
But at the end of the day, right, the Bengals capitalized defensively and offensively, but defensively in those situations, and that's how they got to this point. So, there is something to it.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, I've been asking myself since the beginning of the playoffs, like, who's the better draft pick, Evan Money McPherson or Joey Burrow?
Yeah.
Let's.
Jamar Chase is the answer, but
okay, yeah.
But all three of them. How do you get those three players all in the last 2 drafts, and now you're in the Super Bowl with them? That does not happen often.
That does not happen. And as much as I try to tell myself that it feels like a team of destiny, like the Rams.
Yeah.
The Rams have given up draft picks. Their owner clearly doesn't care about draft picks.
No.
The GM doesn't care about draft picks. Is get this money now.
Yes.
Let's get to the bag. So they're supposed to be here, and they should think like they're supposed to be here. The Bengals, on the other hand, the Bengals are just flying by. They're like, let's go. How you doing? But let's get to the next week. Evan Money McPherson. So that's kind of what it is.
I used to never believe in the magical thing, and then the Ravens, when the Ray Lewis final year,
the ride,
and what Joe Flacco did, and then the Eagles. There's just something about, sometimes it is there. Like, it is to me.
Absolutely.
And football's weird where the best team doesn't always win the football game. I mean, I don't think the Cincinnati Bengals would be here, and I don't think anybody would think that they were better than the Titans or the Chiefs, but they're still here. So the best team doesn't always win the football game at the end of the day. In football, it is about sometimes schemes, destiny, luck, whatever you want to talk about.
Yeah, and 100%. And I don't think the Rams are necessarily the best team that was in the NFC.
No, I would agree with that. Absolutely.
They may be one of the more loaded teams, but I don't think they were the best team.
Talent-wise, they might be, but when you're talking football, it is a team game at the end of the day. I mean, it's the ultimate team game.
Yeah.
And it seemed like they weren't a team. They were just a lot of talent.
Yep. And it only matters how you play when it matters. So.
But talking about becoming a team, I mean, Ramsey and then that D-line, we know about the 2 Hall of Famers on the D-line. That's incredible how they're able to come together and make the plays when they have to. And
100%. I think Von Miller has led the playoffs in pressure. So I mean, shout out Von. I mean, that's incredible work.
It is.
And he was injured when he came there. So so the fact that he went there, got his body right, and he's back to form. I mean, that's kudos to the culture. That's kudos to McVay. That's definitely kudos to the whole show. So I'm super excited for this game.
Oh, me too. Yeah, absolutely.
Obviously, I'll get my pick a little bit later,
because the one thing I didn't say in the opening that I should have, we're going to talk about betting a decent amount as well. So there will be conversations coming up about that.
And obviously, the more it gets legalized across the nation, it gives me a chance to give a shit about a game on a Tuesday night that I would never ever give a shit about.
Yeah,
so
I completely agree. Even though we most likely had it up on the TV anyways, not paying attention. Now we have it up, not paying attention. But we look up to see the score every now and then.
Dude, I pay attention to what Stony Brook does, man, on a Tuesday night.
You're not wrong.
So
it is pretty funny how that happens.
Yeah, it's great. It's great. But let's. I would say we need to transition now into obviously. I would say the people who. I don't know if they want to make themselves the most prominent people on the field, but it sometimes does feel like that.
Yeah, I don't disagree.
But the referees, let's just get it out of the way. These are the guys that could either make or break it, unfortunately, and that's been a notion this year. I hate it personally. I don't ever think in any capacity a referee should dictate the outcome of a game, but I mean... I can't speak on it to the level Sean Payton can. So.
Well, I do think the fact that we have technology, I would love to see us add as much technology as we possibly can into it.
Surely.
Like the Sky Judge and stuff like that. But I do understand the old school method of a human error. But I'm with you, man. Listen, it's not like I'm going to sit here and try to convince Sean Payton that human error.
But we don't need to rely on human error.
Listen, I wish that we could get out of the game. There is a way to do it, and they need to do it.
Surely.
You're right.
Especially with money riding on.
Yeah, wow. And it seems like when the games become bigger and bigger, in the regular season and in the postseason, the refs make more and more mistakes as well. So that also...
Let's just hope that's not the case with this crew.
Pressure becomes a real thing. Agreed.
So, just a rundown. I wasn't familiar with any of these names, which is probably a good thing. Yeah. We do have some Super Bowl veterans, but the referee, Ron Torbert, He's got a lot on his plate in SoFi. The home team, we don't know what the crowd's going to look like. His umpire is going to be Brian Neal. The down judge is going to be Derek Bowers. He was actually, I'm not sure if he was a down judge or what he was, but he has Super Bowl experience. Same with the line judge, Carl Johnson. And your field judge, Rick Patterson, has actually been in 2 Super Bowls. So there is some big game experience there. I think that is pivotal. So those are who you're going to be seeing. Those are who's going to matter. Hopefully, we can go the first drive without a penalty. I think that'll be a good sign. We don't need to spend much time on the referees at all.
Agree.
But yeah, so let's hope we don't need to know their name on Monday morning.
Yeah, dude, I completely agree. There's a lot. Those guys that you just named, if like you said, if we don't know their name on Monday, then I think that they did good.
And we had a great night.
Yeah. So, speaking of, you said about he has a lot on his plate. He will be in SoFi. I saw the weather is supposed to be really hot up until about game time, and then it's supposed to cool off.
I hope there's an air conditioning in that place.
Well, it's an open air.
It is open air, yeah. So I don't know.
They let the wind go through. I have no idea either.
There was a tornado. They had to pause the game this year for a tornado.
Yeah,
in their
that's
dome.
true. That is true. So,
all that money, man.
I have no idea.
Holy mackerel.
But I would like to one day see SoFi because it does look pretty neat.
Absolutely.
As a stadium goes. Inside the game, real quick. You are a big Pat McAfee fan, and during the Pat McAfee show, Marshall Faulk said something that I really, really liked the other day. It was about Matthew Stafford. They traded Matthew Stafford for Jared Goff, and Jared Goff got them to this point. So the way that you make this a successful trade is by winning the Super Bowl, not just getting the Super Bowl.
Absolutely.
And on the other side of it, Joe Burrow, we talked about how, he's Joe Cool and this, that, and the next thing. We've seen him in the playoffs in the national championship. We've seen him in the playoffs here. I mean, people that know a lot more about football than I do talk about how he stands in the pocket until the very last second, and gets hit. You know what I mean? And throws it. And he's not just he's not where a lot of other quarterbacks might force something so they don't get hit type stuff.
Yeah.
A lot of that stuff. So he has the moxie or whatever. I mean, the two quarterbacks. At the end of the day, that's neither of them give you anything to say. They're not going to talk too much throughout the week, but during the game, they're incredibly impressive, and they both have great wide receiving cores. The offensive line for the Bengals is really
atrocious.
bad, so that's where the defensive line of the Rams might come in, and then the offensive line of the Rams is actually pretty good.
Oh yeah.
So.
They got some staples. Certainly holding down that fort. I think Cam Akers early and often may be a recipe to just wear and tear on that defense. But I don't know, man. I don't know. I think Joe Burrow is Joe Cool, man.
Yeah.
He throws a beautiful ball. He lets it spin and it's where it needs to be. I think he has a great chemistry with the young guys. Mm-hmm. I think they throw a lot. In the offseason, it seems like...
oh, my gosh.
Or
him and Chase, yeah.
Yeah, him and Chase.
And everybody else, but him and Chase
I heard a story that Chase went door to door in Joe Burrow's neighborhood and knocked on it and seen who wanted to sell their house so he could move in next to Joe. That must be his guy. So
yeah. That makes a lot of sense.
When you got things like that clicking, it's huge. But then... You got some dogs on that Rams defense. I just don't know if Joe Burrow has seen a dog like Jalen out there, or necessarily seen a dog like Aaron Donald coming up in your grill like that, man. Because it's going to be forceful. Aaron Donald is hungry. I think he feels like he kind of played like shit in the first Super Bowl, or he got neutralized.
Yes.
I don't think he's gonna let that happen again.
I agree with that
So yeah, I don't know, man. I'm hoping for a great game, but
me too.
There's a lot of things that could potentially bust it open.
I have been thinking throughout the entire playoffs, not the first round, but in the divisional round in the championship, I did think they didn't have their offensive line would be the problem. Like the Chiefs defensive line has some guys on it, and the Titans defensive line has been the difference maker for their defense most of the year. Mm-hmm. So I really thought, at least the Titans game, I really thought that Joe Burrow was going to struggle. The most, tied for Donovan McNabb with the most sacks in a game and still winning a playoff game. I think it was 9.
It was 9, yeah.
So, to me...
Jeffrey Simmons, shout out.
So, I was right about, oh, man, he's going to get destroyed, right? But they still won the football game. They're defeating logic in that sense in my mind. You don't not block well and not protect your quarterback and still win football games. But you go back to LSU, who had a good offensive line. The offensive line didn't play super well in the championship game, and they still, against Ohio State, and they still, put up 60-some points, it felt like.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
I'm interested to see how that goes. Mixon, though, he still gets a lot of yards behind the offensive line.
He's a brute, man. Dude, I would not want to tackle that man.
No, and his legs are always moving.
Oh yeah.
The thing that they always say that about a good running back or whatever, but his legs are physically always moving.
Yeah.
I mean, he is that exact guy that they talk about.
He's a thick dude.
Yeah, I do like watching him run. He runs people over too. So
yeah, we should probably get into some statistical breakdowns.
Yeah.
I mean, just so that way there's some substance behind our arguments. But you want to lead that?
Yeah, sure. Okay, so the offensive ranks for Kansas City is 7th in passing and 23.
Kansas City.
Cincinnati. Yeah, what am I talking about? It's 7th in passing. Yeah, they're probably 1st in passing.
They are probably first, and they've been in the Super Bowl the past 2 years.
It's 7th in passing and 23rd in rushing. That is, I guess, interesting because we both
as yin and yang as you
right.
can get, I think.
Yeah. And you would expect a little more because of Mixon, but at the same time, it's how they use Mixon, not
Sure.
it's quality, not quantity there. The Rams, they're 5th in passing and 25th in rushing. Kind of expect that, especially with Akers tearing his ACL before the season to start, and they're passing reliant. I mean, Sean McVay.
Oh yeah, I mean
he is part of the new school NFL, and that's
he may be the new school. Of the
well,
NFL.
he's a good chance of part of that.
The boy genius.
But the defensive ranks for both teams kind of offset this, right? The Bengals 26th in passing, 5th in rushing, which, we just talked about how the Rams have
Stop
great
the run,
passing.
man.
Right. And selling out for the run does seem to usually work in the NFL.
Especially as you get into these later games.
And the Rams are very close to this too. They're 22nd in passing and 6th in stopping the run. Defensive line, we know how good they are.
Yeah,
so I don't expect this, and when you don't expect it, it happens. But I don't expect.
That's sports. That's the beauty.
I don't expect a ton of rushing yards in this from either team. Or if there is a ton of rushing yards, it's going to be a lot of deep third downs or long second downs that break off. Or there's going to be. I don't see either team pounding it. 35. 40
Dude, I
times
think
here.
the over under on P Ryan's rushing is 3.5.
There you go.
So, I mean, that's a little insight into a little bit later. But
there you go.
But yeah, I mean, come on.
There
we
you
got
go.
an over-under that's 3.5 for the backup running back.
That's not good
No.
for anybody. So,
It'll be high flying and so fly.
Yeah.
LA style.
So, in the postseason, the Rams are 3rd in passing and 7th in rushing. Cincinnati is 6th in passing and 9th in rushing. But the Super Bowl, you could throw all the numbers out sometimes.
As soon as the ball's in the air, throw it out, man.
And that's the other side of it. When we were talking about Joe Burrow, pressure doesn't seem to get to him on any level like that. Now,
That's Joe Cool, man. He is unwavered.
Right. It doesn't. There is no such thing as a bright that's too light for him, or a light that's too bright for him, which is incredible to me because,
man, that's what happens. Some of the greats are just born like that,
and
it's the same game that they've always played.
Yeah,
it's the same width, it's the same length.
And here, I don't know if he's run into this yet because he's been the underdog in most of these situations. But my theory on Patrick Mahomes right now is that when he doesn't have the pressure on, right, when he's just not expected to be able to do it, he becomes incredible. But for whatever reason, in the beginning of the season and then the second half of that last game, when it was okay, well, he's Patrick Mahomes and he can do it. He couldn't do it.
It starts to force
so
things.
I don't know if Burrow's got to that point where it's he's the guy. He's just gonna do it, right? But in his mind, he's already been there forever,
been that guy,
and I think that's what has made him almost naive to not knowing the difference.
Yeah, and I think the Bengals have done a really good job, Hoodie, of stopping and smelling the roses because I mean, Joe Burrow came out this week and said, I don't care what game it is.
Yeah.
I don't care if it's a championship, I'm smoking a cigar if we win.
Yeah.
That just goes to show right there, you know what I mean?
He understands his accomplishments along the way, which I do think
that's
is a
huge.
big thing.
That's huge. And I think that's a huge,
it's funny that you say that because Joe Torre, and I think football and baseball are different, but Joe Torre, I just saw a thing from him the other day where he was talking about the Yankees in the 90s, and he said what made them different than everyone else is they never stopped to smell the roses. And while he was saying that, I was thinking, but Derek Jeter was the most boring superstar of all time because of that. Because you didn't let him enjoy it the way he did. He did become the captain because he took the people out to a nightclub or whatever, but I did see that story too this week. But at the end of the day, I like the idea. Like, I was like, oh man, like that's
Is there a risk there?
That sucks for them that they didn't.
Yeah.
They won all of that as the Yankees, and you didn't even like, you know what I mean? Enjoy it. Like, that's crazy to me. I agree with you. I like that Joe Burrow gets to stand there in the locker room, smoke a cigar,
in full pads. Shout out Joey B.
Absolutely.
That's some of the
dancing. He's always dancing.
Coolest shit I've ever seen.
He's
man.
always dancing, singing, and the other thing about it is the fact that he does that. It's part of what makes him a magnetic for the rest of the locker room. Like, they seem to like they'll follow him into battle for a million other reasons, but that's just one of the million.
And I think I texted you. I was crying when
Jamar
Chase said, "Oh, yeah, we're smoking on that KC pack."
Yeah.
I was done.
Yeah,
I said, "Well, these dudes are ready, man. They're here. There's some true dogs."
And that's another thing, to have your guy with you like that, Jamar Chase.
How many balls has Jamar Chase thrown that have spun off of Joe Burrow's hand?
That is so nuts. Like, that is just
at every level. And the only thing that's changed is there's not a white mark on the ball in the league.
Yeah, and they're still, you know what I mean, just as good as they were.
Yeah, and I still think Jamar Chase was gassing with that whole thing because he could catch a rock. Look at him. I mean, he put
the preseason thing. Yeah,
he put 200 yards on Marlon Humphrey. So I mean, come on.
And here's the thing, and this is where back to the pressure and all that with Patrick Mahomes. It is real, especially at that level of football. You know, even something as simple as catching the football for Jamar Chase in preseason might have just been that much pressure in his mind. He might have just been messing with people, but it might have just been that much in his mind. And then it clicked for him one day, and it was just like, oh yeah, we're just playing football.
I mean, when you take the practice jersey off, you put the real jersey on.
That's true. Well, he became different.
I feel like we've been a little Cincinnati heavy. But,
no.
But
so actually, well, I think Cincinnati's the story.
Cincinnati is 100% the story. And yeah, I mean, that kind of just goes back to the point of like, the Rams are supposed to be here. It's put up or shut up at this point. Like,
well, what I will say about the Rams, two things. Stafford, with the pressure thing that I was talking about, I don't know if he's even has been in enough pressure situations over the last how many years with the Rams to know how, you know what I mean? He knows how big this is. He's seen it. But you know what I'm saying? Like, sometimes your first time there, it's just kind of like,
and I mean,
whatever.
Yeah, I mean, Matt Stafford's always been a gamer in my mind. I've always loved watching Matt Stafford play, but
I've always liked Matt Stafford.
I mean, the tell-all question here is Matt Stafford gonna throw that pick to Mike Hilton or to my guy Jesse Bates? Like, is he gonna make that mistake, is that could either happen, or could McVay try to protect him and not allow that to happen, but be too conservative at the same time?
But that's exactly what I was going to say. I think Sean McVay will be good enough in a situation like this. I think that throw that happened in the Niner team, I think that worked out. That throw that was dropped, the interception at the end, I think that ends up actually being what the example for him in this exact game to be like, dude, just last game, you just this is what I can't have you do.
Cannot do that.
So I think having that example and getting lucky and it not happening, but having
Let's hope it's a blessing.
as I think that is the almost a blessing, right? Yeah. Not bigger than you just won the NFC Championship because of it, on the sense of it might be why you win the Super Bowl.
No, exactly.
And the other side of it, you said about it, they're expected because they have the coach, right? Who coached this coach, right? So it's like, well, no one's team's going to be that much better than anybody. But the talent, we talked about the talent before,
salary cap,
how they built and all that. I liked what you said earlier about how they've gone all out for it. I like what they do, though, going all out for it. What they did 2 years ago, right? When they went and got Ramsey, or 3 years ago, whatever it was. When they went and got Ramsey, all that kind of next thing. Went to the Super Bowl, lost, but, I mean, whatever. But have a bad year, come back, though. I mean, they're always, and I think that they're willing to do the pendulum swing like that and not worry about, listen, we've never seen a team do that and keep sustained success, but they are, so.
No, 100%. Hi, buddy. He'll make an appearance. This is my dog, Z.
Absolutely. But my child will make an appearance too. So
yes. One thing that the way I always look at it, like, for example, when the Cowboys traded a first-round pick for Amari Cooper, I was like, well, I don't think there's any value in the first pick or in the first round of this draft coming out that's the value of Amari Cooper.
There you go.
So I mean, and with Jalen Ramsey, it's 2 or 3 first-rounders. You'll be one of the most lucky GMs organizations if you can draft 3 straight years and have the value of that one player.
I agree with that, and
I mean,
I've told you this a million times. I think the hardest position in football is cornerback. So if you can get the guy who is the best at that position, I'd be willing to give up 3 first-rounders for that guy, 100%. Especially at the time that they did. I think even now there'd be teams that do that, but at the time they did, it's clearly worked out. We are 3 years later, and you wouldn't have got one guy. And I agree with you. You wouldn't have not got one guy in those first 3 years that is as good as him. So
I don't even know if the combined draft talent in the first round in 3 years you're going to get.
Sometimes
Ramsey.
How good he is, I agree. He's incredible to watch.
He's a dog.
And he opens it up. As good as their defensive line is, and then what he does. I mean, that's pretty much cuts off half the whole football field right there. Like you're not playing 11 on 11 anymore.
You're not running up the middle, and you're not throwing it where Jalen is.
So it really takes half of the game out.
But that's all. I mean, that's a huge thing because we say all that to say look at these matchups, dude.
Oh man, Jamar Chase and him are going to be
Jamar
so
Chase,
fun.
Jalen Ramsey.
But even further, and that's where the Bengals have been able to beat people to this point, and I think they're going to have a chance to put some points up here against the Rams on this one because Joe Burrow does find T. Higgins and Taj Boyd and
Tyler Boyd,
Tyler Boyd. I'm losing on the tight ends.
Uzama,
and he's going to play. I can't believe it.
Legend.
But the point is
he said something crazy if they win, he's gonna dive into a bowl of Skyline chili.
Okay.
What a savage.
Well, because they're the famous Skyline that's chili out there.
That's awesome. Good for him.
Yeah, good for him. That's pretty funny. But so good. Burrow finds those guys too, and they are all. When you're talking wide receiving core, there's a lot of good wide receiving core. I think right now we probably are at the deepest for teams in wide receiving cores, which is funny because I'm an Eagles fan. Not true for them. But they're one of them. That's just they can cut you 5 deep. Yeah. That's how talented they are. So
absolutely. On the other side you got Cooper Kupp.
Cooper
Kupp,
the guy.
You're gonna have to commit Jesse Bates to his side. You're just gonna have to. So.
And then the guy that we like, Odell. Yeah, I can't believe here we are. He's all of a sudden the second receiver on a team, but it's the most important thing in the world for them.
I think one of the best things that happened to the NFL this year was OBS putting out that video.
Yeah, I agree.
Shout out his editing skills.
Yeah,
that was precise. He knew what he was doing.
Well,
now look, got his boy to the Super Bowl, man.
And on top of it, so here's the thing. Like you said, it was good for the NFL. Creates controversy. The NFL loves controversy. They lean into every controversy they've ever had. Man. Yeah, they love money, right? So the controversy, and then it took out Odell to the Rams, which at the end of the day, say what you want, and I do believe that these NFL, NBA, NHL, all of them, they try to pump their biggest markets, the biggest team.
Sure.
So the Rams getting a guy as polarizing as him kind of made them a little more polarizing because he's bigger than football at times. And he wanted to be there. Yeah. So you get a happy Odell, which that's always just good for the NFL in general.
Yeah. A good Odell.
Right. So all of that, combining, I'm with you. I think that was just all good for the NFL together. But
yeah, and then it's actually remarkable how things fall into place. Bob Woods went down the week that OBJ got there.
Yeah.
You're getting the best out of Von Miller. I think it really sets up to be a special game.
So
I do. I hope so. I can't stand a boring championship game.
Yeah, me too. I love championship games. I'm with you. I don't want a boring one. Robert Woods, I was actually before the season, I didn't know who Stafford was going to connect with most, and so I took him into fantasy teams because I was like, I think he's going to connect with him.
Yeah.
And then I saw in week 4. Dan Orlovsky's out here saying Matt Stafford was texting him a week into OTAs or whatever, and he was like, Cooper Kupp's gonna have 2,000 yards this year because they're because of how good the connection was. And I was like, man, I picked wrong. Picked wrong. But I love Robert Woods and Odell with them. I think all 3 of them, if they can figure out a way to keep that going together next year, that will be a fun core. So.
Absolutely, and the salary cap goes up. So.
Yeah, absolutely. Right. Yeah, because everything's gonna go up for the NFL probably.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Absolutely.
So let's get to something that I am going to let you take the lead on, but I definitely have been doing for a while and enjoy as well. We're gonna get into betting, specifically the Super Bowl.
The Super Bowl, yeah. And Super Bowl, has always done the craziest prop bets, things like that. I've never necessarily been too keen on that. It's fun to do. With the family or something, just over a bag of candy or something like that.
Right, yeah.
But if we're getting to the nitty gritty, I like to bet with what I know.
Yeah.
So there's a few props that I was looking at. So I think this is a really good Super Bowl to bet unders in certain things, and I don't necessarily have too many prop bets that are unders, but I just through some research, and when you normally think it's going to be high flying, it's not. So I just think I think Cooper Kupp's over or under is 105. I mean that's steep. But yeah, let's get straight into this. Let's start with Super Bowl MVP odds. So we've kind of broken them down because we're obviously free agents in this game.
Yeah.
So we got DraftKings odds and we got FanDuel odds. Kind of toggle between both. Both are great companies, great visions, great platforms, great technology.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah,
I
you
know.
both.
Yeah, I know. I enjoy both of them.
Yeah, me too. Me too. I do.
I love waking up in the morning and seeing who has the best boost.
Yeah.
I try to ride the boost.
Yeah.
And as you get to know us, you'll realize maybe even a little bit later in the show, I actually don't have any picks for today for college basketball. It's the Super Bowl weekend. There's a huge UFC fight tonight. I mean, I'm not really worried about what's going on Saturday afternoon in college basketball, but going forward, that is a huge thing.
Yeah.
So let's get right into the Super Bowl.
All right.
Super Bowl MVP. Let's just run through the odds, kind of who I kind of pulled out as just some noteworthy odds. And I think we'll start with it's FanDuel first.
Yep.
Cool. So so you could get Von Miller at plus 4,000.
I took it, by the way.
Yeah. So that's insane. That's like $10 net you 400. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
You got
that's crazy.
Yeah, that's crazy.
And what you said earlier about the pressures,
he's
that's why
he's actually
we find
leading
the value.
Yeah, that's a huge value pick. I was looking at guys like Jesse Bates, and that's like plus 20,000.
Right.
He's gonna have to have 2 picks, like realistically, to be a Super Bowl MVP.
I agree. Or like the a pick for a touchdown with a minute to go that won the game. Like
exactly.
Like I agree with
exactly.
you.
Like
and 8 tackles before.
Like a Derrick Brooks pick 6 in the second half.
Because even what's his name who picked the Butler,
Malcolm Butler.
I mean, he didn't even win the Super Bowl MVP that game, and it was the most important play of the game.
Yeah, absolutely. You can actually get Cooper Kupp at plus 550. I think that might be a safe bet. Like I said, actually like Hoodie said, I don't think there's going to be very much running in this game. So Cooper Kupp might get the rock early and often. I think his I can't necessarily remember his over under receptions. It might be right around 6 or 7. So that
I think you're right. Yeah.
So that's a little steep, but you get 2 little pop passes in the first quarter, you're already rolling.
Right, you're starting. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. This I kind of found interesting. The sway between the odds of the quarterbacks here. You get Stafford at plus 125, so obviously still plus money. Still a good value bet, but obviously not the best value. You can get Joe Burrow plus 230. So that difference is kind of.
But I think that's what shows that the odd makers think the Rams are going to win.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Like, not even just by the 4. I just think that they just genuinely, definitely think the Rams are going to win because of what you just said there.
Yeah, and I saw something crazy. The Rams, I don't want to speak off numbers, but they always win the race to 10.
Okay,
so
I understand what you're saying.
They always win the race to 10. So they're going to get out like they did week 18 against San Francisco. They went up 17. And obviously they gave it up.
The last 4 games I've watched of them, they have been to 10 before anybody else.
Yeah, exactly. So So they go up quick. But I think Joe Burrow he definitely has what it takes to 100% be Super Bowl MVP at plus 230. I mean, that's definitely not.
Agree.
I wouldn't necessarily classify that as a flyer. Flyers we try to get some serious value behind it, but Joe Burrow might be a safe pick.
I agree that there's a safe value.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And then just a few with some really high value, but are certainly possible. T. Higgins plus 6,000. He could very easily lead this game in receiving yards. So that's
a touchdown with a minute to go that wins it.
There you go.
I mean,
or even like a 40-yard drag that he takes to the house or something like that.
Yeah.
Like
jet sweep.
Yeah, anything like that. And then you can get Tyler Boyd actually at plus 10,000. So that's another guy, PA guy, shout out, Western PA.
Yeah.
I watched Tyler Boyd score 5 touchdowns in the Big 33 game. So I think he shows up in the games. So when it matters most. So I think that's a huge thing. On the flip side of that, the DraftKings odds are Von plus 4,500, so that's actually a little bit better than FanDuel, and I just think that's a huge value pick there. Von's gonna be blazing off the end. Yep. We saw what he did. It's our guy Cam, but at the same time, he made Cam, I think, second guess himself in the Super Bowl a little bit.
A little bit, yeah.
He literally took the ball out of his hand.
And at that time, he was where Aaron Donald was, where he was the one getting double teamed the whole time. Now Aaron Donald takes most of that. You know, we talked about it before, and you pointed that out to me. Like, Aaron Donald's going to take most of the coverage here.
Oh yeah.
That's why Bron as well is going to have.
They're going to have to double down on Aaron, but we know that.
Oh, we know how good he is.
Yeah, that
he might throw 3 guys off him.
Exactly. You can get Cooper Kupp plus 600 on DraftKings, so that's a little bit better than FanDuel as well, but still both great values. Stafford plus 100. So if you want Stafford, I would say ride with FanDuel on that one if you feel pretty confident in that. Joey B plus 225. So that's not the same as FanDuel. It always interests me how they differ, but it's still really good value. Safe bet is probably always a quarterback. I'm sure there's a stat out there. I probably should have looked it up, but as we learn, we learn. You can get T. Higgins at 4,500. That's another really good value pick. Like I said, it would not shock us at all to see him lead this game.
No, I agree.
In receiving.
Almost like a Deion.
Pretty sure you said that whenever we were preparing for this.
Well, when we were preparing, I said that like somebody like one of the off guys for the Rams or for the Bengals because of a Deion Branch type situation. Yep. Where like Deion Branch won the MVP the first Super Bowl that Tom Brady played in because he had like out of the 15 completions, I think he had like 7 receptions. Yeah, that's crazy. So if one of those guys though end up with 9 receptions, Tyler Boyd randomly just goes off for 9 receptions and 145 and a touchdown, I could see him winning the MVP.
Sure,
because Jamar Chase is getting doubled or Jalen Ramsey's on him, and then everyone else is open. So
yeah, no, absolutely, 100%, I agree with that. So next one, I've never been a big fan of TD props, but it's a Super Bowl, so I figured first TD would be fun. We got some good value picks here. Actually, one I came up with this morning that I didn't even get to write down. It's probably actually my flyer pick. It's Super Bowl. I'll give 2 flyers. Fuck it. Why not?
Give them all.
But yeah, so but the first TD prop is always fun. People love it. Obviously, we want to give our flowers. I always watch Hammer Down every day. Shout out Tone Diggs, Bubba Gumpino, via Pat McAfee Incorporated offices. So we've been on this train for a while now. So I've been riding with the boys, but they've given some good insight to this, and I'm not sure if it was them or if it was somebody on Pat's show, but they actually gave out the flyer of Odell Beckham first touchdown plus 900. That is good. That's huge. McVay came out, I think, what was it, the first, after 2 days of practice, OBJ got 3 straight passes. So and he knows, the electricity of what it will do if you get OBJ in the end zone and SoFi in the first quarter of the...
That changes a lot. In the white jerseys.
Yep.
Because they never wear the white jerseys there. Yeah.
Exactly. No. So I think that's a huge one. You can get Cooper Kupp at plus 500. That's obviously a safe burner pick right there.
That was like the Joey Burrow conversation. Yeah,
exactly. You can get Jamar Chase at plus 800. So that's right in there with the OBJ market. So that's kind of interesting. Actually, that's that close.
I agree.
You can get Joe Mixon at plus 750 and Cam Akers at plus 750. Yeah. So if you think they're going to drive down and punch it in with one of those guys, then that's definitely a good moneymaker there. On FanDuel, you can get Cooper Kupp for plus 490, which is certainly high value pick there as well. Cam Akers at plus 650, Joe Mixon plus 700. And Jamar Chase is the same at plus 800. So certainly some big ass value picks there. I'm gonna go with on that one. I should have said who my Super Bowl MVP pick was. I'm taking Von plus 4,000. Yeah. What are you're on?
I'm taking Von too. Yeah. When you told me about that, I was like, I can't go away. That's such a great value.
Yeah, and I just can see him having 2 Super Bowl MVPs in his pocket. the Von show. Yeah, I could see.
And when you said that to me, I didn't elaborate on this, and I will right now. That changes like a whole trajectory. Like he's already a first ballot Hall of Famer. He's already solidified. He's that dude. But like he's I don't know. That takes you to some like I don't know, like not Reggie White territory, but Reggie White territory. You're doing something as a defensive lineman that nobody else ever did. Then
and like an undersized stand-up outside backer, like. He's a very versatile player. I've always loved
not
Bron.
just because I put money on it, because you said I'm almost rooting for the story as much as anything. Because he goes from just being like,
is he washed?
Well, to he just won a Super Bowl MVP. I mean, solidifies a legacy that is already solidified.
Absolutely. And then my first touchdown, I'm gonna take OBJ plus 900.
Okay, yeah, I like that. I haven't done anything on a first touchdown. I like you said earlier about you don't really mess with the touchdowns. I don't mess with them either. If anything, I do a like anytime score.
Yeah.
Even those I don't like because
especially not in the same game.
It's
parlay.
just parlays.
And then obviously you can bet on anything. Yeah. I'm not sure. I don't think you can do it in regular season, but you can bet on the coin toss. The coin toss is obviously heads and tails minus 105. So. It's almost basically even money, and it's minus 104 on FanDuel, so basically even money. If you want to have fun, I'm not going to bet the coin toss because I'll be pissed off if I lose the first bet at the coin toss. And they made a great point. I heard someone say, "We'll put that in the same game parlay because if that shit doesn't hit, it's dead first." I was like,
kickoff.
I was like, yeah, very true. There's a couple good Super Bowl specials you can definitely hop on. The ones on DraftKings, if it's plus 450 for both teams to score 25 plus points and both quarterbacks to have 250 passing. That is plus 55 hunch is Cam Akers' first touchdown, Joe Mixon's second touchdown, and then plus 110 is no touchback for the Super Bowl. Little insight again. Shout out Pat McAfee. I think he might be. In a little duel with FanDuel, maybe not. I don't want to start any shit, but they were talking about how the odds of the touchback have changed over the years because Pat described from a kicker's point of view how it's a brand new ball off the box. There's no sweet spot, things like that. So that has actually impacted the odds on both books. They've said so. So that's actually funny as hell.
The one I like there the most is both teams 25 plus points and both quarterbacks over 250 because we talked about how both defenses give a ton of passing up and try to sell out, stop the run, and then they worry about the pass. So I think both quarterbacks can easily with the wide receivers we have in this game, get to 250 yards.
Sure.
And if it's high scoring, then both teams are getting over 25. And the Rams have been known to be in a decent amount of shootouts.
Sure, yeah.
So
absolutely,
I do like that one.
All right, yeah. I'm actually gonna ride with all three. I'm not gonna go with all four. So I'm gonna ride with 3 of the 4 Super Bowl specials for FanDuel. I locked these in early. Whenever I was just scouring over, peeling back the FanDuel layers and seeing what was there early. Might have been like 2 weeks ago. I guess it was almost 2 weeks ago. But so I'm gonna be on the plus 600. Hendrickson sack, Joey B to throw 2 touchdowns, and Jamar Chase to score 1 touchdown. Plus 600. I think that's a great value. And then on the flip side, they have one that's the same thing, plus 600. That is Von Miller have a sack, Matt Stafford to throw 2 touchdowns, and Cam Akers to score 1 rushing touchdown. I think that's a little bit more risky, but at the same time, McVay wheels and deals, so I think that's certainly possible. And the one that I just really think might hit is plus 1,000, so great value. Evan Money McPherson to kick a walk-off field goal in regulation, and the final score has to be within 3 points, so 3 points or less.
I love it.
Yeah, so plus 1,000 there. I mean, that's huge money. That might be one of my bigger bets.
I like that one.
That and the Von Super Bowl MVP.
Yeah, I like those two a lot.
Yeah, and then you can get
you cover both.
Yeah.
You cover both sides of that one.
Yeah, exactly. You definitely kind of hedged that bet. The no touchback is minus 118, so it's not plus money like it is on DraftKings. And these odds were via earlier, so they may fluctuate. So don't quote us necessarily on the exact odds, but
absolutely.
It should be in that wheelhouse, and we're just trying to give out value. We're trying to give out picks. We're trying to be ATMs. We're trying to give out money. We're trying to do this thing. So that's what we're gonna do.
For sure.
To wrap up the Super Bowl bets, I would People may think I'm crazy, but I'm gonna alt spread this thing, hoodie.
Okay.
I'm alt spreading
All right.
6.5 Rams, -6.5 to the Rams.
Ooh, wow. All right.
That's my pick.
See,
I think they're gonna win by a touchdown or more.
I jumped in, and man, I flip-flopped for 4 days before I did it. But I jumped in, it was still 4.5. I took the Rams, but man, it was hard because
So we're both on the Rams.
we're both on the Rams. Right? I don't like that.
You're laying 4.5. I'm laying 6.5.
But I just kept telling myself all week, like, it's the Bengals. Like, the Bengals have done it to them all. Like, honestly, they've hurt me all playoffs on it because I bet against them in every situation. Here we are.
Please don't alt spread the Rams, the -6.5. Lose the bet because Oz said so, and then badger me about it. I don't want to hear it. I'm just telling you what I'm doing. You can do whatever the hell you want. You are a grown-ass person.
Yes.
Or, if you're betting, you're a grown person. So, you're of age, so it's at your liberty. I'm just trying to give you value.
And if anything, I don't even feel more comfortable with it, but I like the Von Miller bet or the McPherson bet more than I like
I'm just trying to dig deep, man. Like,
right.
obviously, we can bet ATS. We can bet all the over, the under. But it's Super Bowl, man.
Part of our conversation in starting this and doing this was I like that how deep you'll move the line a little bit, right, to find value. That to me is more important than just who's gonna win the 4.5 spread like I'm trying to pick. You know what I mean? That to me, finding a value in that is way better.
I'm trying to grow the show, man. There's only one way to grow the show.
That's how it's gonna happen.
You grow the show, you make those value-added bets, make more money. We can put more money into our show. You guys are happy, we're happy. The whole deal is. But one thing I always like about again, there will be a lot of references to shows we watch, things like that. It's a huge part of my life.
The reason we are here, on top of me trying to convince him for 10 years that this is what we should do, is that we're both influenced pretty heavily by other podcasts or YouTube shows.
By the pioneers of this game.
Right, there's so many people, and it's still, to be honest with you, I still look at it as such a fresh and young thing, even though there's millions of people trying to do it.
It's the internet, baby.
Exactly. So I think that we are gonna, like he said, reference a ton of freaking shows left and right because we watch them all, and that's what's led us here. So
yeah, sure, no, 100%. And one thing I do always want to say is, please don't bet more than you can afford.
Agreed.
Please don't risk anything. Don't risk nothing. It's not worth it. Have some fun. Throw $2 if you can afford $2. If you can afford 50 cents, throw 50 cents.
I was gonna say,
just have fun.
A $2 bet on a random Tuesday night for Seton Hall is just as fun as anything else.
Yep,
so
exactly. So
I agree with you.
So please make sure that's the most important thing.
And trust me, I've been there more times than not where I'm putting the $2 bet on Seton Hall randomly on a Tuesday night.
Just to give a shit.
Right.
Sure.
So.
Sure, yeah, and I mean that's our Super Bowl betting wrap up. Yeah. I would say obviously if you wanna, how do you want to do this? If you want to send us your ideas, I mean send us
please
what you're looking at.
Oh my gosh, my Twitter handle is @JarrettDHood, and we're gonna have more.
I will
structure.
get back to you on what my Twitter handle is. To be honest, I got a new phone a little bit ago, and I've been a whole bunch of mess. So I've actually recently got like a pretty new Twitter, but next show I'll certainly have it.
I think it's Oz91.
It might be Oz 2 Z's, lowercase O 91.
But I agree with you. We'll look up and let it out. And the other side of it, when we do structure a name and whatnot and brand and everything like that, you'll be able to get us there. But for now, you can hit up my Twitter, Jarrett D with capital D Hood, and give us, like he said,
hashtag Hood Super Bowl picks.
Right.
Fuck it. Send it to us.
Throw us anything. Yes.
Definitely.
And if you're watching this through another platform, if you find this through my Facebook or something else, at YouTube, random YouTube, post it on the bottom of that link.
Yeah, certainly. Absolutely. Comments are always welcome. We'll certainly try to be in tune with everyone.
Yep.
Be very engaging with everyone.
Absolutely.
We are you.
Yes.
This is just having fun.
Absolutely.
Talking to one of my best friends who I've grown up with.
Yeah.
We've always talked sports. It's always been fun.
Forever.
So that's kind of just a why we're here.
Yeah.
What we're doing, and you'll see it grow. It will grow exponentially, and you will grow with us. There will be reveals. There will be giveaways.
Yeah.
You guys will live this with us vicariously through us. So
please.
we are you, please. So please do not forget that. I think we got a few other sports that we can bounce around to just to wrap up the weekend. And it is actually a pretty thick weekend of sports, I would say. But at the end of the day, the NFL rules. So
and Super Bowl is Super Bowl.
Super Bowl. I know you and I were talking about, we got some PGA tournament golf going on.
Yep.
That's I think it's the Waste Management Open in Phoenix. It's still super early.
Yeah.
At the beginning of it, the favorite was John Rahm.
Mm-hmm.
He was not on the leaderboard when I checked. So if you took him, sorry. That should be wrapping up tomorrow afternoon. I know there's a few guys that I haven't heard of necessarily, but the Pat Perez's of the world, he has 2 top 10 finishes in the past 2 weeks on the tour, so definitely excited to see some new names.
Agreed.
I'm super excited. I know Hoodie's not, the biggest.
I've never dove deep into UFC, but
it's always fun to
I love the fights,
feeling of a fight of a main event card is always fun. Whether it's in Vegas or in a different part of the world, that's always one of my favorite things about the UFC. Tonight is a huge one. It's a rematch. It's Izzy Adesanya, 21-1, Brazilian. I'm sorry, he's not Brazilian. What am I thinking? He's out of New Zealand.
I don't know where he's from.
He's out of New Zealand, and the reason why I know that is because some of the other than him repping it, some of the shots that he takes and his backdrops are on his Instagram and his training is like breathtaking.
New Zealand's amazing. Yeah, I'd love to go one day.
He's fighting Australia, Robert Whittaker. Second time they fought, Izzy finished him. I believe. Well, he dropped him at the end of the first round in the first fight, and then he beat him. I believe early third round or late second round. They were having a beautiful exchange in close, and Izzy just caught him on the chin and literally just dropped Robert and hopped on him and finished it. And it was actually, the crazy thing about that was it was in Melbourne, Australia, and it was Robert Whittaker's hometown.
Oh.
So he got dropped.
You don't need that.
He got dropped
you don't
for
need
the
that.
championship, and then
so he's out for blood then.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I think it's gonna be a bloodbath. I am most excited about the co-main event. It's the big bodies. It's the big bellies. Both of them weighed in at 265 yesterday. We got Derek Lewis. He's 27-8, I believe, fighting against Tai Tuivasa. You probably know Tai Tuivasa as the guy who, I think he's got like 6 or 7 consecutive knockouts, and every single time he jumps up on the cage with his big belly, he pours a beer in somebody's random shoe and chugs that shit.
Yes.
Well, he's a savage.
I have seen that.
He's a savage. He's a beast, but he doesn't give me the same the same killer mindset as Derek Lewis does. Houston is where they're fighting actually. At the Toyota Center, I believe, and cool. Derek Lewis, that's his hometown. Okay. Last time he fought in Houston, he got beat in his hometown, so he definitely wants to knock
avenge that.
Knock Tai Tuivasa out. Yeah. Also, Derek Lewis has the most knockouts in UFC history, so he's a brawler. So tonight I'm gonna take. I actually have a parlay. Going, so this is actually dipping back in the betting world. I got Izzy Adesanya by KO. I have Derek Lewis by KO, and I parlayed all that with the alt spread of the Rams -6.5.
There you go.
I think that's like plus 1,000 or something like that. So definitely
good value.
Definitely good value on that. So that's what I'll be doing tonight. That's where I'll be locked in tonight. As far as I'll also probably some college basketball on the TV. I don't really know any of the headline games. Like I said, it's Super Bowl weekend. Do you know? I know Bron and Steph play. Is that tonight?
Yes, that is.
Shit. All right.
Yeah,
so
Bron and Steph played tonight.
This is like a 2 TV, 3 computer screen night.
Someone tells me it's in LA too.
It feels like
LA's hopping, but I don't know. It could be in Golden State, but I think it's LA.
Well, I'm obviously gonna ride with my boy Bron there.
Well,
I mean, who knows? But
I do like Steph, but Bron's my guy.
I like Steph too, but not when he's playing Bron.
No, not. I agree with that. So Last thing, the awards.
The awards, let's do it.
They already did the awards, right? But we're still going to talk about who, maybe if we disagree with one, who we would pick, or at least, confirm that they did the right thing. The MVP.
Yeah.
I mean, Rodgers.
Aaron. Aaron. Tom's just impressive because he's 44.
Tom led the league in a lot of stats.
Yeah,
and that at the age, I agree with you.
Well, yeah, 100%. But what Aaron Rodgers did this year was he just built on last year. He had a freedom off season. He took care of his mentals, and it really showed. So yeah, I personally don't have any argument there. I love the speech.
Agreed. I
love the slick back hair. I love the
I
look.
love
I love the corduroy suit. Aaron.
I used to be against
Aaron.
I used to be against Aaron Rodgers because I didn't like how he treated his teammates and stuff in publicly. Like he'd throw him under the bus and stuff like that. But then as I started to hear him talk about things outside of football and how intelligent he is and interesting he is in Jeopardy and blah blah blah, I've always
big brain motherfucker.
Right. I've always been kind of more towards him.
Mm-hmm.
The MVP listen, having 4 MVPs, impressive. I don't mean to take this away from in any way, shape, or form, and I think he deserves the MVP. He's who I would have picked this year.
Sure.
But I always find the MVP awards that never like we were talking about Brady, right? You could make an argument for him, right? But I mean, you're actually Deebo Samuel's, right? Is he more of an MVP to his team? Or Cooper Kupp, is he more of an MVP to his team?
Yeah.
Not that Aaron Rodgers isn't the guy that makes the Green Bay Packers go, because like I said, I would have still voted for him. But it's just sometimes when we talk about this, it just gets fixated on either just stats or big names or this, that, and the next thing. But listen, like I said, that's a whole different conversation. Aaron is the MVP, and he deserves it this year. So.
Absolutely.
Offense player of the year.
Yeah, let's go with offense player of the year.
Offense player of the year?
Yeah, let's go with offense player of the year.
Okay.
My offensive player of the year is Cooper Kupp. I'm not arguing that.
I completely agree. He had the Triple Crown in receiving.
He's always open.
He did the Triple Crown in receiving. He did that without when Robert Woods got hurt. Nothing changed. OBJ stepped in. Super talented as well. We love him. But impressive to continue as
brand new quarterback.
And the other side of what Cooper Kupp did, it wasn't just the stats and stuff. He did it during the crunch time too. He didn't disappear. The game stayed steady. He was good for the whole game, including when it mattered.
Sure.
Most.
Yep. Absolutely.
Defense player of the year.
Defensive player of the year.
It's my only quabble with the NFL.
I'm gonna be. I'll be honest. The fact that there's 2 Cowboys that were even I don't know if Trey Diggs even got votes, but he was in the talks.
Yeah.
The fact that the Dallas Cowboys had two guys who were arguably in the top 10 on defense was some unheard of stuff for me. But yeah, I would say that's my only disagreement with the awards. No, that's not my only one. But our guy. Hometown kid.
Absolutely.
I shouldn't say your guy.
No, even as an Eagles fan, I love him.
Micah Parsons, MP11. Shout out TJ.
TJ
balled out, did some unthinkable things. He missed some games. TJ neutralized some good offenses. TJ's a beast.
He is, and he is an intricate part of that Steelers defense, and that Steelers defense is really good.
And I think he's a guy that could go anywhere and do that.
I completely agree with
defense.
That. I completely agree with that. I'm on your side with this. I've been thinking about this for a little bit. So it's gonna look like I'm a homer or whatever, but because he's from Harrisburg, even though I'm an Eagles fan. But my thought on Micah is the reason I would give it to him over TJ is because he did it all.
84 tackles, 20 tackles for loss.
Coverage. Listen, there's no doubt in my mind that TJ Watt probably gets more sacks than anybody else, even if Micah plays defensive end, right? But if Micah plays defensive end, you could still have the argument that he's going to be in that
200
conversation.
More rushes.
He's going to be in that conversation, right? And he played every position he excelled at, where TJ had to focus on one thing.
Yep.
And I gotta stay consistent. It's just that is going to be part of me on the show. I don't find sacks to be it's like steals in basketball to me. It is awesome. It's a big deal. It means something,
the game.
But it is not a defining thing. And while he got 20, and that's incredibly impressive, and
22
and a half, and he tied the number. That's incredibly impressive. That's off the charts. It just, to me, there's more to defense than just one thing, and that's what that one thing is.
Yeah.
So to stay consistent on how I felt about this entire situation, my whole life, I'd have to pick the Cowboy, even if I didn't want to in this situation. So
yeah, and my argument is obviously Micah stepped in. I think I saw an interview the other day. He said he took them all training camp to learn linebacker. He learned DN in 3 days.
Yeah,
so
incredible.
And showed
And
out.
that's the other thing. The one time he lined up for an entire game where T.J. Watt lined up, he played just as well as T.J. Watt.
Yeah.
Not better, because you can't play better than what T.J. Watt does.
He led the league in pressures that week.
Yeah, right. He did. Yeah. And again, you can't play better than T.J. Watt at defensive end, but he played just as well as him, and that's hard to do. So.
Absolutely, and
as a rookie,
obviously, Aaron Donald, Myles Garrett. But the only other one that, and this is certainly probably a homer bias pick, but it shouldn't be. If you know football, you know Trey Diggs with 11 picks. The fact that he gave the Dallas Cowboys 11 extra opportunities, and 2 of those he took to the house, I think that goes without saying how valuable that is to a team. I mean, you talk about game-changing plays. My man had 11 of them in the hardest position. So. Not saying he should have won. Yeah. I do think Micah Parsons is the player of the year, and we don't even need to talk about the rookie defensive player of the year.
Well, yeah,
it was unanimous.
Yeah.
They didn't even put another person on the screen.
Yeah, by far.
So
it was easy.
Yeah, I think he should have took home both.
The Diggs thing, he had, to me, football and defense, getting possessions is the most important part.
Extra
of
possessions in football.
In today's football, because back in the day,
whether it's special teams, defense,
to me,
whatever.
It's bend don't break nowadays. But back in the day, it used to be like, do this. Now it's literally get possessions and bend don't break. And while I don't love his style of play, he got 11 possessions for his team that were not there before that play. So it is something to it. I do more lean on the side of not as much, but it's impressive. And
it was very impressive.
Listen, I wouldn't, if I was the Cowboys, want to give up on him or anything because of the rest of the stuff. The 11 interceptions is something to build off of. So,
and we won't go into that. I'll save that for another segment. But yes, Micah Parsons, Trayvon Diggs, huge.
Yeah, rookie offensive player of the year. I think they got it right. I was going to pick Chase. I mean, what he came in and did.
Yeah, absolutely. The only other one that you could argue is Mac.
I was going to say Mac.
Mac,
yeah.
Mac came in.
Because he orchestrated an entire offense. Yeah, I agree.
The Patriot way, definitely. But yeah, no, Jamar lined up against some of the best that this league has to offer. And showed up every single time.
And he had 201 yards in a game at one point this year.
On Marlon Humphrey, I believe.
Right.
So that's
in
the division.
Yes, that's what I mean.
That's
it was
huge.
against the Ravens, right? So it was just like one of those he hit every milestone that you would want. Oz came up with the most fantastic, I think, award. This is our own personal show award. It's called the Workhorse Willie, and I love it, right? And basically, this is your Ray Lewis's or your Mean Joe Greens and your Brian Dawkins and your LTs, or I know they're all Hall of Famers, but it's just the guys who put the nose in it, right?
Who put their nose in the mud, who get dirty. It definitely doesn't have to be a Hall of Famer. It's just someone who straps up the boots. Hit you in the mouth as hard as they can every single play.
Yep.
And is this a dog? DAWG.
So when I was trying to figure mine out, and I was like, man, where am I even going to go with this? I just started thinking of some of my favorite players in the league, right? And clearly, when you start thinking about this, it was like, okay, this felt like a defensive thing to me, even though it's not. You can get some offensive lineman or even a tight end probably in there too, but I was like, man, it just kept leading me to defense. And Isaiah Simmons stands out to me because he played 100% of the snaps for 6 games, which is hard to do on defense in the first place. And he had 70 solo tackles. But every time I turned on a game that he was in this year, he was all over the field and just everywhere.
You're probably picturing when he punched the ball out on Dak.
Exactly. Well,
when he made Dak fumble.
And so that's
gotta get down 2 steps earlier.
But that game itself too.
Love you,
that shows it exactly what I'm talking about. He was everywhere all the time, and that was all season. So he's by far my workhorse, Willie.
I would say I had to dig deep in the archives of this season. There's been some guys who have gotten to it. But a guy who I didn't get to watch much of, I can't say, but I've watched every playoff game that he's played in. And he is just a downright dog. He is in the mix. He had one of the most heads up. I don't care. Go back and watch the film. I think he did a shit on purpose. Jesse Bates.
Yeah.
That man is everywhere. He dictates that defense. He coaches them up. You should see the communication on the Bengals defense is really good, and it starts with him literally chirping before every single play. And that the last game against the Chiefs, Patrick Mahomes drops back. Yeah, obviously he's done this a million times. Jesse Bates had the mindset to say, all right, the ball's coming to me. I can't pick it, but my guy's trailing, so we got him double covered. So he's trailing. So let me back the ball to him in overtime.
What a heads up play.
Get the ball back to my team. Go down, wham, bam. Thank you, man. We're in the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Jesse Bates. He may not have been, if you ask me, in Week 18, but he's certainly the workhorse Willie of the year. He's a dog. He's doing it in Cincy with no indoor practice facility, no nothing, man. Just out the mud. Seems like he's a guy who's been really just willing to get it dirty his whole career.
And that particular interception made it
I love Jesse Bates.
3 straight games where they end it with a turnover. That secondary, that's incredible to me.
Yeah,
and it's like you said,
he's the captain of that secondary.
And that's exactly what I was gonna say. Like you said, like he orchestrated the interception, but like that's just him on that whole defense. So, comeback player of the year. I don't think that we're.
No, I mean Dak's my guy. Dak went through hell.
Okay, I get that. I can see that. But
Joe Burrow went through hell too. But my guy for his ankle and his leg weren't attached.
No, I agree.
But Joe Burrow, where he is, I don't like to do regular season awards. This is how did you perform through the whole thing? Joe Burrow, certainly, pound for pound comeback player of the year.
Yes, I agree. And I'm glad you said that. It's not just a regular season award because I had a couple of regular season plays in my head, but our next award is the Big Dick Energy Award of the year. And
Big Dick Play, sorry. Play of the year, yeah. So
BDE.
Yeah, the BDE Play of the Year. That's how we'll tag it. But yes, it is the Big Dick Energy Play of the Year.
I'll even explain how we got to this. We're sitting at a restaurant eating wings just not too long ago, and I get blue cheese with my wings, so I'm like, yeah, I'll get some blue cheese. And then the waiter asked him, does he want any blue cheese or ranch with his wings? And he says no. And he says, oh, he's got the BDE today. And we were like, oh, all right, let me say you got Big Dick Energy all day. And I completely agree. And he ate his wings without sauce. So hey, I mean, that's how it goes.
Yeah. So I was thinking later that night, I'm like, yo, I love my guys who do the podcast. Shout out Coach JB. Shout out Pat. Shout out Bussin. Shout out Leb. Shout out DP.
Yeah,
shout out all the guys.
Yeah.
Definitely
we listen to so many.
Definitely try to be as well-rounded as I can. I research you guys. I study you guys. I watch film on you guys.
Me too.
It's what we do.
Yeah.
So I love how they all have something that just draws you to a certain segment. So I was like, you know what? The Big Dick Energy Play of the Year.
Yeah, I like the
hopefully one day it
BDP.
It could have a presenting sponsor.
Yes.
But for right
One
now, that's we're obviously in the infancy stages of this. But the BDE Play of the Year. I'll go with mine first.
Okay.
Mine is a little. I think sometimes the kickers can show just how much they're slanging, just because they're kickers, and they can end it, and they can just stroll off, and they're not the biggest, not the strongest, not the most athletic, but they're just dogs. So my BDE Play of the Year is Justin Tucker's 66-yard field goal off the crossbar, precisely knew what he was doing. The fact that your coach has enough confidence to send you out there just goes to show the BDE energy that you have.
And that won the
It won the game. It sent the line to another miserable week. MCDC, that might have been the game he cried after. So I don't know.
Yeah. Well, to add to that, right, I would have one more with the kickers. If I was picking a play from a kicker, it would be McPherson.
Guess we're going to the AFC title.
Right. That would be the one I would have picked. But I have two here, and I couldn't decide between the two. And the only reason I will even throw this first one in here is because
we'll let you guys decide his too. So hashtag BDE Play of the Year.
Yes.
Hoodies BDE. However BDE Play of the Year. You choose between who you think Hoodie should pick.
All right, so the one I got is...
Sorry for the confusion.
No, yeah. But the one I got is the first one, and I only threw it in here because they called it for a love of the game route in the playoffs, where Cooper Kupp caught the super long streak route when he was playing slot against the Bucks there to get to the NFC Championship, because that play was supposed to go to a bunch of different spots, but they blitzed 8, and then the linebacker didn't know what he was doing, and it left Cooper Kupp wide open. But that route, you're never supposed to get the football on that route, but he runs it as hard as he can every time
because he's got the BD.
So they call it the love of just for the love of the game route, and it ended up going to him. So I like that. But the one I stuck out to me from the moment that we said we were doing this was Shanahan on 3rd and 7 when the Niners were playing the Packers same weekend. Troy Aikman's exact words before this play, right before they called timeout and then ran the play, was, whatever your best play for 7 yards is, you got to run it here. And like they were going to run some stupid pass play, and then all of a sudden Shanahan calls timeout, brings him back out. They run a running back out in motion. They bring Debo in motion, and Debo goes for 8 yards on 3rd and 7, the most important play. And it was like, of course. So me,
Debo models the BDE.
Right, and so like, but that
energy,
right? Oh my gosh, yeah. But that play to me was just like Shanahan was like, "What am I doing? Like, of course I got to put my best player in here and run my best. Like, it's Absolutely. My best play." But so those would be it'd be between those two.
And
for me.
yeah, and I would have to add to that. My honorable mention was the one that sparked me was Travis Kelce against the Chargers in overtime to end it.
Yeah,
caught just a little. I think it might have been a drag, or it might have been just an out from Pat, and just took it to the house like a baller.
Yep.
So that was the other one. That was my honorable mention one.
When he gets moving, sometimes he can just not be stopped.
It is
fun to watch.
I love watching him play ball.
I'm a huge Gronk guy. Like I like Gronk, but man, Kelce is just, when he's moving, it is tough. Yeah, he's a train.
But just tells him, Trav, do it.
Yeah,
run it.
Yeah, and him and Tyreek. What are you gonna do, right?
Yeah, so,
but we're going to have plenty of time to talk about all of that and more.
We'll recap all that good stuff.
Thank you for watching. Tweet us. Let us know if you like it. Thank you. If you're still here, appreciate you watching.
Yes, absolutely. All feedback is welcome. Love you guys. Out.
Yep. Enjoy the Super Bowl.
Yeah, definitely.